students, in this video we are going to see about 12th standard solid state unit 6. So matter may exist in three different states such as solid, liquid and gas. So solids usually they differ from liquids and gases by possessing definite shape and definite volume. So in the solids, its constituents, that is ions, atoms or molecules, they are tightly arranged together by a strong force of attraction. So like this you can see the atoms or molecules or ions, they are tightly held together by strong force of attraction. So by understanding the structure and relationship between the properties, which are very useful in analyzing new types of solid materials with different properties. So in this unit, we are going to study about the general characteristics of solids, classification, structure and their properties. So coming to the general characteristics of solids. Already we have studied about the arrangement of atoms in liquids and gases. So in liquids and gases, the atoms or molecules, they are very much loosely packed. So they are moving randomly from one place to other place without exerting any force. So unlike gases, in solids, they are tightly arranged together by strong force of attraction. Now coming to the general characteristics of solids, all the solids, they possess definite shape and definite volume, and they have rigid structure and also they are incompressible, and all the solids, they have strong cohesive forces. Cohesive is nothing but strong force of attraction, and also they have, all the solids, they have a short either interionic distance or intermolecular or interatomic distance. And also in solids, the constituents, they have fixed position in the lattice points, lattice positions we can say, and they can oscillate about their mean position. So that is about the general characteristics of all the solids. Now coming to the classification of solids, broadly they are classified into two major types. One is crystalline solids and the other one is amorphous solids. And the term crystal is derived from the Greek word crystallos, which means clear ice. So initially this term was used to represent quartz transparent crystal, and later on it was used to represent to any type of solids which are bounded by symmetrical arranged faces. So that is about the crystalline solids. On the other hand, amorphous solids, amorphous again a Greek word which means no form, and here in amorphous form, the atoms or the molecules or ions, they are randomly arranged. And coming to the crystalline solid, in crystalline solids, the constituents, that may be atoms or ions or molecules, they are arranged in an ordered manner, and that is not limited to a particular distance. It is extending over a long range, and that is known as long range order. Whereas in amorphous solids, the long range order is not maintained, so it is termed as random arrangement. So coming to the differences between the crystalline solids and amorphous solids, in crystalline solids, the constituents are arranged in a long range order, and in amorphous solids, the constituents are randomly arranged, that too in a short range order. And here in crystalline solids, they possess definite shape because of the ordered arrangement of its constituents. Whereas in amorphous solids, since they possess random arrangement, they have irregular shape. And almost all the crystalline solids are anisotropic in nature, whereas amorphous solids are isotropic in nature. And the crystalline solids are considered as true solids, whereas amorphous solids are considered as pseudo-solids. Pseudo means false. So pseudo-solids are supercooled liquids, and the crystalline solids possess definite heat of fusion, whereas amorphous solids possess indefinite heat of fusion. And all the crystals possess sharp melting point, whereas amorphous solids usually, when it is heated, they soften on heating over a wide range of temperature so that it can be molded from one shape to other shape. And example for a very good example for a crystalline solids, we can say sodium chloride crystal, which is also known as rock salt, diamond, graphite, etc. And for amorphous solids, we can say glass, rubber, plastics, etc. So like this, we can see the crystals, crystalline state. Here it shows the ordered arrangement of atoms in the crystalline solids. Here the random arrangement of constituents in the amorphous solids. And also we can show the example for crystal like a diamond, and also some of the ores which are present in the crystalline state. See, galena, the ore of lead, quartz, pyrites, they are also present in the crystalline state. And for amorphous solids, we can say glass, rubber, plastics, they are belonging to amorphous solids. So, amorphous solids are isotropic in nature. Isotropy means uniformity. Uniformity is nothing but having identical values of physical properties in same direction. That is termed as isotropy. Anisotropy. All the crystalline solids are anisotropic in nature. Anisotropy is nothing but possessing different physical properties. Physical properties in the sense it can be refractive index, density, solubility, electrical conductivity, etc. So, they possess different physical properties in different directions. That is about anisotropy. And next, classification of crystalline solids. Crystalline solids are broadly classified into 4 types. They are nothing but ionic solids, covalent solids, molecular solids, metallic solids. In ionic solids, the structural units of ionic solids are ions. It can be cations and anions. So, the ions are occupying either at the corners or at the body center or at the face center. And the best example for ionic solids are NaCl crystal, which is a rock salt crystal. And all the ionic solids, they possess strong force of attraction because the structural units are ions. And they are hard in nature and they possess definite shape and cubic closed structure. And coming to the general characteristics of ionic solids, the ionic solids are hard. They are hard and brittle in nature. They have high melting points. And the ionic solids do not conduct electricity when it is present in the solid state, because in solid state the ions are tightly held in their lattice position. But they do conduct electricity when it is present either in molten state or when it is dissolved in water, because the ions are free to move either in the molten state or in the solution form. And also they are very hard in nature as no external force can change their lattice position. So that is about the characteristics of ionic solids. Coming to covalent solids. In covalent solids, the constituents are occupied by covalent bonds. In covalent solids, the constituents are held together in a three-dimensional network of covalent bonds. The best example for covalent solids are diamond, graphite, silicon carbide, etc. And these three-dimensional covalent bonded constituents, they are very hard in nature, and also they have very high melting point, and they are poor conductors of both thermal and electricity. And coming to the molecular solids, in molecular solids the constituents are neutral molecules. They are held together by weak van der Waals forces, and generally these molecular solids are soft in nature, and also they do not conduct electricity. And they are further divided into 3 types. non-polar molecular solids, polar solids and hydrogen bonded solids. In non-polar molecular solids, the constituents are held together by weak dispersion forces, or it is also known as London forces, and they have low melting points. Usually they present either in liquid state or in gaseous state. The best example for non-polar solids, anthracene or naphthalene, etc. Now coming to the polar molecular solids, the polar molecular solids, the constituents are held together by polar covalent bonds, and they have strong dipole-dipole interaction between its constituents. And the best example for polar solids, we can say solid carbon dioxide, solid ammonia, etc. And in hydrogen bonded solids, the constituents are held together by weak hydrogen bonds, and these hydrogen bonded molecular solids are soft in nature, and also they are solids at room temperature. The best example we can say solid ice, water, etc. Now coming to the crystal lattice. Crystal lattice, it is nothing but any crystalline solid is characterized by a definite arrangement of atoms in a three-dimensional pattern. So a regular arrangement of these species throughout the crystal in a three-dimension is termed as crystal lattice. And next one is unit cell. A basic structural repeating unit in a crystal is known as unit cell. For example, to say, you can consider a brick which is present in a wall. Like that, a unit cell is present in a crystal. And a unit cell is always characterized by three parameters. So to explain the unit cell, you can see this one. So this is a unit cell which is containing atoms at the corner. So the constituents are, it can be atoms or ions or molecules. They are present at the corners of each cube. So for a unit cell, we can consider like this, and it is characterized by three parameters. They are nothing but the crystallographic axis. So here we can see the crystallographic axis OX, OY, OZ, and they are having interfacial angles between the crystallographic axis. They are alpha, beta and gamma, and they also possess the cubic edge length like A, B, C. So always unit cell is characterized by these three parameters: crystallographic axis, interfacial angles and primitives. So, and the next one is coordination number based on this unit cell. So the number of nearest neighbors, in which an atom is surrounded by a particular particle is known as coordination number. Thank you.